Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. I'm very new. This is my second video I'm filming. My name is Amanda and I make videos about planning, goal setting, how to functionally plan. I'm not that much into decoration and not stickers or anything. I have a bit of washi, but I plan to basically have my life function, and that's what I like to talk about. So this is my second video, and the first video I made, I talked about my journey through planning for the last maybe 5 to 10 years, and how my needs have changed a lot in that period, and that this year I really experienced and acknowledged that when my life changed, my needs for planning will also change, and when they do that, my system will have to change to accompany that. I showed you my bullet journals last time, and the last one I was using, I was really it really worked for me. This is what I was looking for. At the end, this is from 2017. I got married in 2018, and since then things have been very, very different. But this is like part of my youth life. And I really narrowed the bullet journaling system down to what worked for me. And I loved it. But then I got married, I got pregnant, I had a family, and my needs changed. And what felt like planner piece here didn't work because my needs were different. And what I really realized this year is that those life changes can be predicted at some times. For example, right now I'm pregnant. I have a baby due in less than 3 months, and my life is going to change, and the time I have to plan and when I have that time is going to change, and like all of these things. But that can be predicted, and because I've been planning for so many years, I know what my head needs. And because it's my second child, I hopefully have some kind of idea as to how my everyday is gonna look and what I will need. And therefore I can plan accordingly in the future. So that was last video. This video, I wanna talk about what has my planner needs been previously at this time, and what are they looking like now, and how do I accompany that. And my next video is going to be actually walking you through the system that I have right now. That was a really long introduction. I'm sorry for that. I also want to mention that my filming setup is different because my husband and I, since last time, a lot in our lives changed, and we closed down the cafe that we were running, and now we have a lot more free time, or like time at home. So we changed our bedroom and we made this office, and it's really new, and it's probably bad sound in here because it's still pretty empty. So that will change in the future, and I'm sorry for having you go through it or like live with it for this video and probably some of them to come. I want to start talking a bit about what my planner needs were at this point in my life when I was in these bullet journals. I have a lot of bullet journals, and I used them for quite some years. And if you're curious at all, you can go back and watch my last video. I'll link it if I can find out how to do it. I've never done that before. Yeah, at this point in my life, I had a boyfriend for most of the time, but I was not married, and we were not living together for most of the time. So I was just myself, and I was commuting a lot. I was in school and I had part-time job or only job depending on when in the years. But I was using a lot of my time in public transportation, and was partly at home and partly sleeping at my boyfriend's house, and like I was moving around a lot. And that's important to have in mind when I talk about these needs, because it influenced it a lot. But my overall need back then, and still is to put pen to paper. When I put pen to paper, I feel like the thing that I'm writing about kind of, it doesn't leave my brain, but I feel like I don't have to cling on to it and hold on to it as much, and it frees up space. And that's the same then and now. And I really come to understand how important it is that I write things down as they come up in my head. So through all of these years with the bullet journals, I really tried to come up with a system that made me able to just go to a certain page and write out what was in my head. At this point, it was also really important for me to be able to do a spread or a collection, or like map something out at any time. Like if I was at my boyfriend's, if I was at work, if I was in the bus, I needed to be able to do that right away. I couldn't wait till I got home, because maybe it would be a few days before I got home and I needed that spread now. So being in one book was essential to me. The portability of only having to pack one book and a pen case and like have everything that I need was really nice and convenient, because I didn't want to like drag around 5 different notebooks everywhere I went. I would have hurt my back. Yeah, so being in one book was essential to me, and I learned that the hard way. One year I was trying to make a bullet journal for different things, like have one for finance and have one for social media and have different stuff, because that's the way my head works, but it wasn't useful for me because I couldn't carry everything around. And then I've always had the need to like map out my day. When I see something on paper, I memorize it better and it kind of sinks in. At some point I had a job where I would like be there 8 hours a day, and I wouldn't take work home, and I would just have to do the stuff that I knew how to do while I was there, so there wasn't a lot to plan regarding work. And on those days there would be less tasks and all this stuff on my daily page, and I didn't need the daily page as much, but I've always had the need to like see, okay, what's going on today, what do I need to focus on, and everything else going in my head, I write that down, but I don't think about it too much, because then my head will just overload with thoughts. So daily planning has always been important to me. And then I learned the hard way also through the many years of bullet journaling that I like to have things really minimalistic, because I want to focus on the data that is on the page. When I track something, I track it with a purpose, either because it's a reminder, or I want to hold myself accountable, or I want to see like how often do I actually wash my clothes, or stuff like that. But I learned over some years that I really enjoyed a clean look, and I could easily see what was on the page and what the spread was about. This is easier for me to see without reading anything that this is a weekly spread, because of the 7 rows and stuff. And that these are daily pages without reading anything because of the way they look. So that's really important to me. And then at this point, I always had a monthly tracker. That's also really popular in the bullet journal community, probably for many reasons, but also because writer Carol uses them. guy who invented the bullet journal system. If you haven't read the book and you're curious, I really recommend it. But he, I wonder if I have one of those. He uses a monthly log, which is kind of like this. Without the boxes and everything, you just list the days and then you track what is going on in your day. And next to that, he has a habit tracker where he just X's off, and he maybe tracks 1 or 2 things next to the dates. But I tracked a lot more. And I did this probably every month. And some of them was because I wanted to remind myself. Some of them was because I wanted to encourage myself, because then I got to check it off when I did it. And some of them is just to see, okay, when does this actually happen? If I knew that I wanted to change maybe on a habit, it's always nice to know where you're at. So I'd just start out with tracking, okay, what's actually going on right now. So yeah, monthly tracker was a big part of my system back then. And then I had, as you saw here, I had a calendar, and it was important for me because I'm a visual person. I wanted to see the events that was going on in a calendar like this, because that's what makes sense in my head. It's a different thing for me with the monthly log, the way Ryder does it, because this is not, but the way he does it is that he logs after the fact. So it's basically 1 line a day, or like a notion of what happened that day. So these are 2 different things for me. When I need the log, it's because I want to see what happened. When I do this, it's because I want to see what is going on in the future. And I noticed how I wanted to be able to see the data of each entry on a spread like this, because I was in the beginning, when I started with bullet journaling, I was using the Calendex method, and that's basically where I don't know if I have one here, but you just write all the info on your daily page, and then whatever page number that daily page has, you take that number and you write it into a calendar. And so when you're doing when you're setting up your month, you go back and you see, okay, what was this appointment or whatever it was. And that did not work for me because I couldn't see what was actually going on all together. Like, I had to look up each individual appointment or event like that. And then at the end here, or this is not the end, but I started in 2015, I think. 16 maybe, I don't remember. But I found out that reviewing my weeks really helped me stay consistently in the system and to use my planner. And it also helped me not being so hard on myself about not doing enough, not getting enough done, because I forget. That's a huge lesson for me that I've learned through planning. I forget what I did, and it still happens. I was doing my weekly review 2 days ago for last week, and I was dreading to do it because I was like, oh, last week didn't go well, and I didn't plan for the first 3 days, and all these things that I just think about all the things that I could have done better. And then I went back and I actually found out what I accomplished. And those 3 days where I didn't plan is the days that I was doing my YouTube channel and updating my Instagram, and I was planning out videos, and I did so much last week. And if I hadn't done that review because I was dreading it, because I was thinking I hadn't done enough last week, I would never have found out that I was actually really productive last week. So reviewing is a huge part of the mental, what do you call that? Wellness? Like, my mental state, the way I think about myself and how happy I am, and my mood is very much affected about how I see myself working and how much I get done and all these things. And I forget what I do. So if I don't track it and review it, I'll be really hard on myself. So that's something I learned, and that I try to make reviewing a part of my routine, whatever system I'm working in. Okay, so that's then everything that I needed back here. Then in 2018, I got married, I got pregnant a few months later, and I was still in the bullet journaling system, and this is the one. And I was really dreading not having the time to be in the bullet journal system after I gave birth, because I was assuming that would be the case, and it was. And therefore I set up I have a Louboutin personal ring agenda, and I set up this with pre-made inserts so that I had something to plan in when I had the time to plan. Because even if I was only staying at home feeding my son, it gives me a lot of energy and happiness and peace to plan. So even if I didn't, I knew that even if I didn't have the need to plan, I would want to plan because it makes me happy. So I set up this, and then I gave birth in March 2019. And then I was in this for a bit, and then when he was about half a year, I went back into the bullet journaling system. So I was just being very basic with just black pen, and I was trying the Moleskine brand for the first time, and I really liked it, and it felt really good to come back in a routine of planning and setting myself goals and planning out what I wanted to do each day. I was really happy. And then I started in this expanded Moleskine that I'm still in. So just like back here, I still need to put pen to paper. It's even more important for me now to write down what I think when I think it, because my child will say something or need something in one moment and the thought is gone. So I need to, even more than I did back here, I need to write everything down all the time if I don't want to lose the thought. And it happens all the time that I lose the thought, but I try to write everything down as it comes. Then I've noticed how, because it's so important to always have part of my analog system with me, because I want to write things down as they come up all the time. I want to have something that's very portable and that I can take with me around the house when we move from room to room, and that I can take with me when we go grocery shop or we go to an event or birthday or anything. And right now I'm using this and it works, but it's heavy. It's the expanded version, and it doesn't need to be this big. So it's working for now, but I have plans to go into something smaller. I would say after those three things, the most important thing for me now is also daily planning. And it's even more important to me now than it was back here, because nothing in my day is set. I don't know when my baby's gonna wake up. I don't know when he'll nap. I don't know when he'll go to sleep again. I have 2 weekly appointments that are set, and that is church and a fellowship thing with people from church. And so I know that Saturday and Tuesday I have appointments that I need to go to at a set time, but other than that, my whole week is blank. So if I don't plan, I feel like nothing's gonna happen. And I won't track it, and I'll be mad at myself for not doing anything, even though I'm probably doing things. So planning daily is super important for me, both to get my life to function and for like taking care of my son, but also just for my mental health. And then I would say after that, one of the most important things I do is that I track habits on my daily page instead of on a monthly page. I still have some things that I track on a monthly page, and I track those because I want to see how often does this happen. but I track stuff that I want to remind myself. Like if I'm practicing a new habit, I want that visible on my daily page. Because I see it all the time and I have to rewrite it every day, and that really helps me remember and remind myself why it is that I want to prioritize this. And maybe evaluate if I don't do it for a long time, if it's something that I actually want, because I'm not doing it. So why am I not doing it? Is it because it's not important enough for me? And then a new thing that is really big for me now, and I assume it will be in the future too, but has been less important earlier in my life, is goal planning. And I think that is also because so much of my time is free and not set. And probably also because I'm older, and when you're in school, someone else is dictating for you what you need to do and where you need to be and all these things. And right now, I have to take care of my son, but other than that, I'm home. I'm still working part-time. But even in my work, I still have to figure out everything myself. You could probably see my work as being an entrepreneur, or like self-employed person, even though I'm not. But the type of work that I do is very self-driven, and I have to figure out everything for myself. So it's very project-oriented, and I need to write stuff down. Yeah, so goal planning is really big for me right now, and it's really new for me too. So I'm trying to figure out what is working for me. And this month is the first month that I'm trying something new, which is a system that Sterling Inc. has been talking about, and it's so nice and working really well so far, and I'm thrilled. So if you haven't watched her videos before, I highly recommend. I'll link her if I can. I would probably go into the weekly reviews. I already talked about them, but they are still really important to me. And because I noticed how well they are working for me, I also want to go into monthly planning, especially because I'm goal planning. If I'm planning goals and I don't review them, I don't see how that's going to work. So at the end of October, I'll start to review October, and then of course in November. And I assume that the way I review my month will develop for the first months until I find exactly what I need. Yeah. And then the same for quarterly periods, that I review and what I've done, and if I still have the same priorities, and what I will want to do and achieve in the coming quarter. And then something very new that I'm doing in my system right now, and this is just set up, is that I'm tracking long-term things. So instead of just monthly tracking and having to look at each month individually, I have a lot of trackers here that are yearly trackers. And that's because I hope that my life will be a bit more stable in the coming years. I'm a wife, I'm a mom, I will very soon have multiple kids, and I'm a home caretaker, and all of these things are not going to change for the coming years. So I want to see certain things when they happen, how often during the year, instead of just tracking it each month. And this is also much easier to keep up with because I don't have to redo a tracker every month. I just have everything in here. So this is part of my planning system, and I'm gonna speak a lot more about this in my next video. But this is basically my life color-coded into different areas, and I track things that I want to either remind myself or just know when they happened in here. And I've never done that this way before. And all of these inserts, by the way, are from Peanuts Plan and Crow. Yeah. The last thing, no, there's 2 things left. Second last is the future log that I was talking about earlier. I wonder how it looks here. But basically, when I set up my month, how do I visualize for myself what my appointments are? Like this. This is a calendar. And this is a monthly. It's not a log because it's set up before the month starts. But what kind of system do I want for seeing things happening in the future? And I know that the calendar view works best for me. And I know that I want all the data in it. And that is not what I have yet, because I only have the current month in this book. So what I'm actually doing right now, and have been doing for some time since I gave birth, is I log things in my phone. I like the app, the Apple app, calendar app on my phone. And then I transfer it in here every month. And I would like to not use my phone because I don't like it and I can't read in the calendar. I have to like click each date. Sorry, I'm spitting while I'm talking. So I want to fix that. I haven't really, I have come up with a solution, but it's not gonna take place until next year. And then the last thing that I want to touch on is that I still want minimal spreads, because I like to see the data that's on the page, but it's not as important for me now than it was earlier. So that's actually everything that I had planned. I hope that this was some sort of helpful, and that maybe you got to know me a bit better and the way I plan. Yeah. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions or requests or comments or anything, I would love to hear from you. Please comment and say hi. Even if you just watched this entire video, I would still like to say hi to you, so please say hi in the comments. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you would like to spend 2 minutes just telling me what you thought about this video, I would highly appreciate it, so that I can improve my videos, because I want to improve, of course. So if you have any feedback, please let me know. But other than that, I hope that you have a fantastic day and that you're safe and happy, and I'll see you next time. Remember to subscribe if you want to come back. And yeah, thank you so much for being here. Goodbye.